All right. Peace, power, positivity. Welcome to episode 4 of the Miso Selfish Experience. I know over the last couple of weeks we kind of went over the main central themes and kind of like the foundation or the backbone of the pod, right? But now I feel like we should be moving into the direction of kind of like my thought process and kind of what birthed the start of the podcast, going into the centralized direction of liberation, restoration, and communion of our community, right? The reason why it's so important, and I'm feeling like it's ever more important to share my feelings towards why we should be not only doing the knowledge for ourselves, but restoring the mind. Not only is the brain a muscle, right? Some of us know that, most of us know that, whatever. If you don't use it, you lose it. I say this every podcast, and I truly mean this shit. I'm not the smartest person. I really am not. I feel like, if anything, I just have a very unique perspective. That's nothing more, nothing less. I don't have no degree in none of this shit. I'm no psychologist. I've always been back in the cut, and I've always been observant and kind of just watched things play out the way it does. And I have extreme pattern recognition due to my neurodivergence. So it is what it is. Long story short, there's a couple of subcategories or sub themes I want to talk about or share with you guys for a few brief moments, because I feel like it's important to again get our brains channeled back into the thought of restoring the mind, getting us to start thinking for ourselves before things and people and entities start thinking for us. See what I'm getting at? So I want you guys to think about this. All right. Think about how laziness can lead to ignorance, which then could yield to compliance and then leads to non resistance. And then that ultimately leads to no change. And what I mean is if you kind of break it down, and I'm going to break it down with you guys too. If you break it down, a lot of things, a lot of the reasons why we're in the predicament that we're in and people are the way they are, it's a lot of it's our fault and a lot of it's not our fault, right? A lot of it's conditioned, a lot of it's a manipulation, a lot of it is indoctrination as well. But the important part and the key to all of this is to be aware enough to stop that, right? A coworker of mine had mentioned that it's important to have resources, the resources for these things in order to better ourselves, in order to have certain things that we need in order to better ourselves. I will combat that by saying we have some of the greatest resources on our hands available at our disposal right now within our own handheld devices, laptops, et cetera, et cetera. But I understand that it's a little bit deeper than that. It's finding out the what to look for. You know what I mean? The kind of the specifics. And that's what I'd like to, help people navigate through that as well. But I understand that's also not really my fight too. It's kind of just depending on, and I'm not gonna say how tapped in people are to the situations and what's going on, but how much people care. And I understand, like, everybody's kind of just living their life. Again, not everybody's fight, and not everybody cares as much, or even, it's a lot. But long story short, I understand. Let's start with this: laziness. I know when people hear the word laziness, they automatically assume like the face value bare definition of laziness, right? Not doing shit. But I want you to think about laziness to the point of not because we're human beings. We're gonna be lazy from time to time. That's what that's what makes you human. I'm talking about true laziness to the point to where you're just at rest all the time. The brain's not working. You're just shut off. You want to shut off and shut down everything. True laziness to the point to where it's just like there's no ambition, there's no yearn for information. That type of laziness. You understand? That type of laziness is dangerous because I feel like somewhere in past generations, that type of laziness was passed down and indoctrinated and conditioned through our generation now, which has kind of led us to be into this ignorance is bliss type of state, if you will, where people are just okay with not fuck it. People are just okay with being stupid. It is what it is. People are very comfortable with not knowing shit. People are very comfortable with just shit being the way it is. And I get it. A lot of it is acceptance, right? A lot of people tell me, yo, you just got to accept shit. Shit is the way it is. Life is the way it is. But I feel like a lot of that has been conditioning too, like getting us to think like that, bro. Because why would you ever want to not better yourself or not want to know certain things to better yourself or better your kids or better somebody that you care about? Like, it's the progression of humanity that should be at the forefront of our minds. You know what I mean? But it may not be. I feel like it. You know, again, with capitalism and things of that nature, with all these individualized mindsets, that's what steered us away from that. But also at the same time, we can always do what we could do, right, and take that control back by reeling it back in and doing the work, like I said, to bring that back to a cohesion type of effort, if you will. So I say all that to say ignorance is not bliss, and ignorance then yields to compliance, if you will. The less you know, the less you're aware of, the less you're willing to care about, the more you're willing to comply to things. Think about think about the right. You know what I'm saying? Think about people who are just blindly following this president because they don't know things. And they're okay with that. They're okay with not knowing things. They're okay with being in the dark with certain things. They're okay with blindly following a leader. Both cameras. I will never be okay with blindly following a leader like some of y'all. But that's y'all though. That's cool though. That's cool. That's y'all. Not me though. Never be okay with that. I've always been a thinker. I've always been a person who yearned for the truth. Why don't y'all want the truth? It just seems like it just, man, anyway, that's a whole separate situation, whole separate category, whole separate discussion. But that leads to compliance, right? Complying with everything, going with the flow, right? Just not really thinking for yourself, thinking hive minded. There's a difference between cohesiveness and communion, right? And then hive mind thinking. Yeah, we should be thinking together, still have independent thoughts, still have your own unique ideas, but bring that together, right? Still have that individuality to where you can bring it together, if you will. Not have individuality where you're isolating. Easier said than done, but that's kind of the message I'm trying to convey here. So with compliance, and the efforts of the power be that made it a little bit easier to comply, then leads to non-resistance. We kind of know all the different avenues of resisting and how that could look and what different examples that could look like. But I think the ultimate form of non-resisting is again kind of going with compliance, right? It's just being so easy going with anything, right? And then now you're just non-resisting when forces are, look, ICE agents is out in the streets and shit, man. And now everybody is just, you know what I'm saying, just like it gets deep, y'all. It gets deep. And because of this non-resistance and this mindset, so going from having this energy of complying to everything then yields to this non-resistance idealization. I don't even know if I be saying that word right, bro. I don't, but anyway, long story short, it just leads to this idea of non-resistance, and that's dangerous because if we do that, then we're leading the next generation into the ultimate doom in the ultimate form of what I'm talking about, and that's no change. There's not going to be any time for change. There's not going to be any tools for change. There's not going to be any outlets for change if things aren't put in the necessary places that they need to be put in order to do the work to do so, right? So let me rephrase that. There needs to be the proper things in place. There needs to be the proper outlets in place. There needs to be the proper communities in place in order for affirmative action to actually be upheld. It's that simple, bro. It's that simple. If we really want to promote change, we really got to do something about it. But also at the same time, I get it, right? A lot of people are just like, where do I start? Where do I start? Hell, bro, half the shit, bro, that we all know how to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, no one taught you how to do some of the shit y'all know how to do. Come on now, y'all figured the shit out, right? So why can't y'all figure it out for the betterment of the rest of us? Not just me, not just my significant others, but y'all too. Like, I care about y'all. My black, brown, indigenous, Asian, Pacific Island, my people, bro. I care about y'all. But also at the same time, I get it. We in a place where it's like it's not everybody cares. I really understand that. I promise you I get it. It's just it hurts, bro. It hurts because all the shit that I know I'm capable of doing and putting into the world, I know there's more than enough people and a lot of people who are willing to do the same shit, but then they kind of get to this point to where it's just like I can't really share or be myself or express myself in a certain way because community has held us back. Unfortunately, religion has held us back in a lot of ways. It's kind of touchy getting into that because growing up a religious person, right? Seeing how in the black community how just it's a backbone, it's a pillar of the black community, religion, right? Christianity in America. It's just the idea of Western Christianity that I can't quite sit with, especially after slavery and again indoctrination and conditioning over the last 80 or 90 years. So it kind of it's been dicey with that as a man that believes in God and also is a, you know what I'm saying, tries to live as righteous as possible. Listen, I it's kind of hard to accept that you guys all believe in the same God I believe in. Like, especially given we're not gonna get into religious talk real, but it's just the main point I'm getting at is it comes down to compassion and caring, and those foundations that I was raised on kind of led me to the thinking that I have now, and the being and the vessel that I am now when it comes to that. And it's hard to lend my caring to people when I see evil shit every day. I deal with evil people every day, and it sucks. Like it sucks to know like I can go to work and get dirty looks, or I can go to a certain place and be looked and judged a certain way. When especially when it's a person of color, when it's just like I fight and I vouch for y'all so crazy, and I want again liberation, restoration, and community for all of us so bad. I'm willing to die for it. And on top of that, it's just like I want a better future for my son. Like I always say that too. Like and I want better future for all of our kids and so on, et cetera, et cetera. Like it's important. And I just wish it was that important for everybody. But again, I get it. I truly do get it. Like everybody logs in at different times. Everybody taps in at different times. This happens to be the time that I'm 100% tapped in because one, it's either now or never, but two, it is man, we're in very serious times, and I feel like we need to put some shit in motion. Yeah. If I can be completely honest with you, I still want to be able to have a little bit of fun on these podcasts, right? I still want to be able to show a lot of different variants of what this experience could be. But it's also very important that I lend you my 2 cents on not only what's going on with the world, but how I'm feeling on a day to day basis when it comes to how it impacts me and how it's going to impact the rest of you guys if we don't do anything about it. And again, it starts off with a conversation, and then it starts off with what are we going to do about it. Again, it's just all cause and effect and kind of just action. Um, we can't force anybody to do anything. The only thing all I could ask for, I don't want no subscribers for real like that. Likes, I don't care about none of that, bro. I promise you I don't. I'm gonna keep doing these podcasts regardless because I just care about my community. All I ask of you guys is to please just eventually develop a little bit more compassion to come along with me and care a little bit more. That's it. That's all I can ask for. And just whatever information, whatever knowledge you have, lend it to the next person, bro. Don't be stingy. You ain't gotta like you know what I'm saying? Like lend game. Lend what you know what I'm saying? I don't know whatever that looks like for some of you guys. Like whatever y'all gotta do it for the betterment of our people and for our situation because we're in times right now where if we don't step up and if we don't do nothing, nothing's gonna get done. You know what I'm saying? Then we're gonna be in an undiggable hole. So again, I wanna rehash that if we continue to be lazy, continue to be ignorant, continue to be compliant, and non-resistant, then we're not gonna have any true change, y'all. Like it's that simple. That's it for this week. I kind of no. Okay, so I do still want to do a group pod, and I'm still trying to get some shit together for that. I still need a few more pieces of equipment to get in order to kind of make this kind of work. Sorry, I'm looking around, kind of just seeing how with space shit. And anyway, long story short, I'm trying to get some more content for you guys, and again, more unique perspectives. It's taking a little bit of time, but that's okay, because as much as we don't have time, it's also good to be patient at times too. Make sure everything kind of flows together and everything kind of works seamless. But beyond that, I appreciate you guys for tuning into this week's episode. Again, I promise you guys, I don't care about none of this will find the right group. I'm confident in that. And I'm confident that the people that I speak to that are on the aligned the same way with me, thank you. I appreciate y'all. And for y'all, like, comment, and subscribe. You feel me? For y'all. Everybody else, I understand. You know what I'm saying? Passing through, whatever. Cool, cool, cool. Peace for y'all. All right, y'all. I'm out of here.